guys, what's going on? Leah asked me to fill in for her so that she can finish hiding the bodies. I mean, editing. So this week we are casting our favorite books. Here's my problem. 2 of my books have already been done. The City of Bones and Vampire Academy. Vampire Academy, I knew Courtney was a way bigger fan than me, so I wasn't even going to fight her on it. And Victoria claimed hers by filming it last week, which I think is kind of BS. Anyway, so the other one was Beautiful Creatures, but the Caster Girls website has come up with a way better cast than I think I could have, with one exception. I think Emma should be played by Jasmine Guy, who was recently the grandmother on Vampire Diaries. So what I did was I picked the Dresden Files, which is an adult fantasy, urban fantasy series, but it's one of my absolute favorite series ever. And if you like your urban fantasy, a little gritty, if you like sarcasm, you know, those sorts of things, this is the series for you. They did a TV series of it for a season a couple years ago. It wasn't too bad, but it wasn't too spectacular either. But the one thing the show did get right was the main character. They got Paul Blackthorne to play Harry, and he kind of was perfect. Other than him, if I had to suggest a Harry, I would say if Zach Levi from Chuck could pull off a kind of smart-mouthed, sarcastic Ryan Reynolds type character, he'd be perfect. Next was Karen Murphy, who is the resident police officer in Chicago in the Dresden Files. She's a really tough character to cast. In the books, she's blonde, petite. She is a accomplished martial artist, badass. But I would suggest Sarah Michelle Gellar because we've seen her on Buffy and we know that she can kick ass. And I think she could have a lot of fun with the role. Thomas Wraith, Harry's brother, I would suggest Matthew Bomer, just because I, like Gretchen, wanted to find an excuse to work him into my cast somehow, although hers was with Puck from Glee, who I did not work in but thought about. And then Michael, he's a character who is a very staunch Catholic, and God looks out for him and helps him along the way, and he's very religious and protected by his religion and like true faith and all that. I would suggest Viggo Mortensen. And then villains, because they're my favorite part of the whole thing. For Mab, the Queen of Air and Darkness, the Winter Queen of Fairy, I would suggest Lena Olin, who, if you saw her on Alias, is pretty much the most badass mother ever. Marcone, who is a legit mobster in Chicago. I would suggest Robert Forster. And for Nicodemus, who is pretty much just a badass, and that's really all I can say about him, I'd suggest Victor Garber from Alias, because one of Nicodemus's traits is he's a villain and he's like a bad guy like through and through, but he's his own bad guy. And he has almost like, not a sense of honor, but there's a core of him that you know exactly what you're getting into, and he's not your typical villain. And I think that's really interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much my list. The new book in the Dresden Files, Changes, just came out this Tuesday, so if you haven't picked it up, go do that, because I absolutely love the series. I cannot wait to see what happens next, especially after the cliffhanger ending that we just saw. Okay guys, that's all for me. I am currently working on my edit letter from Flux for Witch Eyes, so I'm going to get back to that, and hopefully you'll see Leah on Saturday. Hopefully she has showered.